In English, I take refuge in the Guru, I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Sangha. From now until my enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And by the merit created in this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and causes. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, feel bias, attachment, and anger. This ground, known to be perfume, strewn with flower, Mount Meru, encircled by the four continents, surmounted by the sun and the moon, I visualize this Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy the Pure Land. Idam Guru Varana Mendala Kame Yadvayo.
nasıl? Ne zamanlo çabuk taşıtlı yok. Ne tanga dari ton cukum jangan. Terang ne dari ton de zo ne ngadi chene. Dari tereso, dari tereso so kuana ne dari 아주 참 맞죠. 다리 농구 요때 맞지 봐. 지난 데가 있어요. 결혼 좀 전다 샘디 질라 만로치네. 샘나 다리 농구 요때 맞지 봐. 진짜 지금 있어. 어떤 거 좀 되지.
Right. Good morning to you all. We're going to begin our today's discussion and by practice meditation. In today's meditation, I would like to request to you only do the silence Aryantara heart mantra recitation. You do not have to do anything, but just focus on that sacred formula, the Dadi Du Dadi Du Soha. So while you are reciting mentally or silently in your mind, you might have realized that you have different thoughts or there's some kind of ideas or thoughts arise, but don't deal with it. Just bring your full attention into the mantra itself. And then, in other words, only focus on the mantra. Do not think anything else, and that's it. Today's meditation.
같은 시에는 샘나 다리 다리 들어서 어디 그것도 점받지 뒤때 맞지 봐졌더래서 몸다 됐어요.
Now, like we talked before, the meditation is all about the recollections of the object of meditation, and that you are so certain. And in other words, you are finalized through your understanding. So now, while you are reciting the mantra of Aryatara, and just focus on and or recollect that very mantra itself, on the vibration of the sound of mantra, and without thinking anything else.
Budaraye Jidum Sema Dure Dona Tanjete Soa Yigye Jala Randar Dare Dare So Dare Dare So Dare so Hare Dare so Om Dare so Om Dare so Om Dare so Om
노라 땅을 친다다 노동 질질에 질샘진 노진직된다 랑리 리 일진기 노르고 기 리기 넘버 소진직된기 캄타이스 메비 노지 성컴 남라 땅니 노진직된 마타파 마타파 동tâm 세르마 정보 사마 nganro yangsala sopa mata pe nul thamchil never chirte no chi jikten ji kham thamche kyang rambochi na cho ji rangjin langti ter nyamba thatil yangwa thati chiwa yangwa ragnan jamsang dewa trama mechang osawa zanden ji nyambo chsong dang damba hai meto na cho ji chenjamba thar rambochi hak tsaba Sertong, Udom, Tiki, Shemi, Jangwar Daba, Abelatang, Kumadatang, Bami, Yenchang, Demba Kangwa, Chisana, Kenyamber Doba, Gashang, Yoba, Dangwar Kiwi, Yanla Yetang, Dambi, Tsotang, Zangwotang, Tangatapi, Zero Shepa, So, Tapisang, Pasun Soper Jete, Sangi, Shangsam Popi, Tsonamla, Chopi, Tenji Pombo, Chembo, Tower, Samsung. Shang de dagna yopi chichi simjin layang de dawo penson juro ali ngargil tang jagpa chongwi ken kachig chang ma songwar shangchid jipi thun the tenkin shartang jongwar samde jonjigli tamchid dan sajid samala so mebad lang ti tarnyam benjarya rangjin jabo negirchi lichin namki shatang shangtang ozur tamchid 남과 레경 치기다 님을 잡을 밥을 쇼 시송소 세워다 되지거다.
Right. Please go to your translation, the page 67. We're going to read it says, subtitle says, giving to the environment which beings inhabit. To offer our bodies to the environment beings live in, we send them forth to infinite worlds within the 10 directions in the aspects of wish-fulfilling jewels. Transform all impure environments, decayed logs, bones, wishes, sand, crevices, cliffs, and so forth, into wonderful pure land in the nature of various precious stones, as level as the palm of your hand. Open, extensive and smooth to touch, stainless and bright, perfumed with sandalwood, scattered with celestial flowers, and fenced with jewels. They are filled with powdered gold, silver, and pearls, and covered with opala, lily, and lotus flowers. There are beautiful lakes, pools, and ponds containing water possessing the 8 pleasant qualities, 8 pleasing qualities, over which fly different kinds of water birds singing sweetly, enhancing the scene. Think that these constitute magnificent clouds of offering to assemblies of Buddha and exalt that they do not for a moment provide the slightest cause for pride, arrogance, or conceit in the beings who inhabit and enjoy the pleasure of these habits. Think that, on the contrary, they enlightenment due to such a favorable. The guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life says, may everywhere the earth be pure, free from stones and pebbles, level as the palm of my, and smooth in the nature of may all embodied beings interrupt all, hear the sound of the doctrine issuing from birds, trees, dreams of the beings of light, and even from space.
다 가정의 아주 시에도 리 달라파 당와 년나 당와 성지 당 선지 선발라 당와 또 정말 지지 샘진라다 노지 직된 당아도 지지 샘진이 바로 내와 노지 직된 데라 때네 아주 내다오라 때라 때네 내와 참 아롱도 리기 소놈 게 소라 때네 리트 예브진지 노르타오 니와라 때네 아니 이종 탐질라 베 니와 당 담바 정을서 아니 지 Samadan, Tomadan, Tedig, Samadiwadan, Kapadan, Tedig, Shamadan, Tedig, Betam, Shiwata, Sayundan, Tatula Suba, Tamjipa, Shini, any Satam Dewadan, Nyamba, Pesu Soba, Medoki Jamba, Kanjala Soba, Tedig Pesu Soba, Johnson, Samni. The Jong Della Navy, Semjin, the Tamji Young, Takpishang Kopado, the Taksang, Taksang Kopado, Taksang, the Sanjitang Sambi. 나즈네와 텔라니비 심진도 탐지형 알길당 아주 지금 다 가실라 때리지 쇼솔 소소 일파서 소가지고 가쇼인 알길지와 작파세트 샘캉 제들 알길 작반인데 잡어요 작파세트 가쇼인 세들 알길 세트 젤라파 통통진이 아니 소소 쇼인 세트니 잡을들이 알길당 작발 소베 샘 딘디 온다 마송아 아니 지금 샘 참미 지시랑 딱지위 오늘 딱베성 그들이 고바섬기 맞바 중앙등 가졌다 Samla Suba Gombi, Liki Toki, Norta, Janeta, Samjitam, the Jackson, some Chine. The Gombaina, that Taksang Gombi, Taksang Gomba, the Nazo Liki, Sosorang, the Lita, Lisa, Tita, Niwal, Tene Johnson, some Negomgors, or Tenida, Jujichamonatsuga. Tamchit on the Sajitan, the Soso Yitan Corley Navy, Saji Yonsu Topa, and Sama, the Dorgila Sopa, Tala Mambuta, Shama, Tede, Mo Meva, Sama laso mebatang laso seti na te ngo gang ne onju sama joma tomo tang tat de sa cham chi ko me nyba tang zoro tang de therma mo bo yo de mai ba langti tan nyaba langti tan de ma da pe ha sang de sang nyamba rangjin ki nyamba ne de la chi zishang tang me to la so pe nyamba cho tang zang wa la so pe kang wa li jin ge ji sha tang de la ne we li jin en sha sem chin tam ji sha de zo na chip sha na zo pa de en ji yit dong we da nyin do pa Tela Shang made to Los Jamba. Then Nankali just Chigira, the Jumani, the Tapishanganaway, but Tapishanganaway, Tigan, the energy, long term Serala Sobajana Lila, Sora de Wayama, teaching the energy, Drat to Davion to Chigi dat and the Chimatapala Sopa de Tombi, Drat and the Johnny. They ended Jimmy Chapper, Tour shows, the Digger Drat to Jimmy Chapper, Tini, Tela Yamazani, take down. They go not Tashan Gomba, the Television, woman the course, so will. Jita dodo omashina so li no tang chil ni chil sem no ji ji tin la tang wa de oda tan shi
So today's meditation, or the contents of your meditation, actually is the continuation of what we have discussed before. Essentially, we know that in terms of the classifications of existence, and when looking around or think of, there's only two things going on, and one is the inhabits, or the environment, and that is the inhabitants, or the beings who depend upon the living in it. So this is the two existence, and that which we know, we can think of. So now here, when we take this as the rich resource for our spiritual practice and meditation, and we know that we have already discussed about how to offer our body, right? And other than the physical environment, right, the beings will depend on the physical environment, and we as a single individual here, we do have our body, and in previous class, we talked about how to take our body and as the object of offering, and all that donation, and to benefit others. So we're talking about take our body to giving to or donate to, and beings which we don't like, even we name something like an enemy, and who in general we feel they are very hostile, and it's very unpleasant. So in our meditation, and as part of our the trainings of generosity, and we take this body and not only offer to our beloved ones, friends, and someone that we truly love, but we also take it to in our meditation and give it to the beings who are in general or conventionally considered as a mean or unpleasant or difficult to deal with it. So this is kind of donating or giving to. But at the same time, we also know we have discussed about, and we take our body as the rich resource or the rich object of the offering, and the offer to the perfectly enlightened beings such as the Buddha, and exalts the beings such as the Bodhisattva and the Arhat, and all the and highly spiritually advanced beings. So that's what we did, right? We talked about that how to use our body. And here we're going to focus on how to take the physical environment or the inhabits in which we are living. We live. So how to take it and go in and give it to others. First of all, we know we have to think about what is the relationship between the beings, right, or the inhabitants and the inhabits. Right? So the relation between the beings and the environment are very much sort of depend upon each other, and you see that the relationship is very, very tight, right? So this relationship then involved with some kind of, from a spiritual point of view, some kind of qualities, right? And so the qualities of the environment, and from a conventional point of view, or from our very impure impure worldly and experience. We know this the physical environment could to a great extent is impure, and that because it is filled with like we talked about the decayed logs, thorns, bushes, sands, crevices, cliffs, and so on and so forth. And so it's in terms of the this is about the quality, and also it's not even, and it's sometimes very harsh and difficult to live or to deal with it. And so this is the conventional this is how it appears to us, and to our impure or samsaric worldly senses. Yeah. So now that's how, because of how we see it, and that is our experience. So therefore, and we needed to sort of transform this relationship between us and this physical world that we deal with it, we're living in. So the way and we deal with, we sort of transform the current, this impure or sort of contaminated relationship between us and the inhabits, is that we need to take this worldly experience, or this impure, contaminated, empirical understanding or knowledge about our very physical world, and into our meditation, and transform it by meditating what we call through the process of meditation, we call the meditation of pure vision. Okay, so the meditation of a pure vision. That's the method. That's the way we can transform. We can transform and change our current relationship between us and the physical world. So as the text says, in your meditation, the way you began to transform your impure and the vision, impure appearance, and understanding of perceptions and senses about a very knowledge about the physical world, is that you began to think that this is in your meditation, and through by visualize that everything in your transformative meditation, or the meditation of the pure vision, pure appearance. Tao is a pure appearance. So you think of now the world, or the very inhabits, that is a pure land. You see, which is the very inhabits in your or environment, in your meditation, and of the pure appearance. You see the land, right? At the level of the land, as even as the palm of your hands, it is open and extensive and to touch, and also it is absolute stainless, and is bright, and more than that, and also to your senses, that you you feel the perfume with the sandalwood, and then this scattered with the celestial, whatever you see, it is the celestial flowers, and it's fenced with the jewels. And then they are filled with orders of gold and silvers and pearls, and covered with the beautiful flower of upala and lily and lotus flower. And more than that, you are again the meditation of pure appearance, where what you see, your experience is that there are beautiful lakes, pools, and ponds containing the water, possessing the 8 pleasant qualities, which are the flies of different birds of the water, kind of water birds, and singing sweetly, and enchanting the scene. So I think all this that, and then by then you offer, right, and you transform this land, the very physical and the current world or environment and universe you deal with now in such a great, magnificent, absolute, and a pleasant, pure form of inhabit or environment you offer to the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. And then, so in your meditation now, you see that whoever living in this environment, this pure abbot, right, celestial environment, and the beings there, and they are simply just enjoy it and with whatever they are possessing or they have. And even though they live in such a magnificent environment and such a celestial sort of a luxury, but they have no any slightest sense of pride or arrogance. So here I need to tell you the difference between the pride and the arrogance. So pride is the sense of, again, you focus on the self, right? The sense of yourself or the identity of yourself. So the way the pride do is that you feel yourself as someone is superior, is great, at the same, and consequently, and then you look down others, right? And so you kind of feel others is you have that attitude of by being yourself in someone is greater and superior, and then you disregard others or become disrespectful or mean, and have that sense of kind of mean to others. That is the pride. But what is arrogant? Arrogant is just feel you are superior, you are better, you are greater than others. So have no that sort of looking down and feelings. And so in your meditation again, you think about all those beings are there, they enjoy and absolutely appreciate what they have and the environment, and then by realizing, I think of this is a wonderful place, and things are absolutely great, and so then they reflect on how come they can have this, right, or be able to enjoy living in such a absolutely desirable and a beautiful place, is because of due to their practice of generosity and rejoicement and bodhicitta, love kindness. So because of that, and then they be able to have this great celestial and the pure land, and then living this pure land. And furthermore, in your meditation, you also think that and this environment and being poor, and by the way, this is in your meditation of the pure appearance. Everything is thoroughly or completely transformed, without a single being left. So you are your meditation. You think about every being is in that pure state of the Pure Land, the state of a Pure Land, or in the Pure Land itself, and everyone is enjoying their life and without any sufferings. However, and then they continue pursuing their enlightenment. Then they are using this proper, desirable, and the place and to further to enhance their enlightenment. This is because they find they realize and they are living in a easy and a better place and ideal place, and so now they take advantages and to enhance their enlightenment. So the way doing is that in your meditation you think so the birds in that Pure Land by singing or make a very sweet noise, and that is not simply a bird's voice, a sound, but it is the language of the Buddha. It is the teachings of the Buddha, and also that when the trees are sort of blown by the wind, and that sense of touching of the air or the wind. And again, the beings who are living in this the Pure Land is generate the sense of give them a sense of deeper insight and inspire them. And so the sound of the trees again turn into the form of some kind of form of a Dharma teaching, and so the beings of living in that Pure Land, from the space of a sky. And then they hear the sound of the Buddha's teaching. So this way they can swiftly expand the beings of all sentient beings. So that's how you bring in and make it happening in your meditation of pure appearance.
Oh, there's a thing I was ngay li tang da no ji jikten tang ji samchen yi dong ne o nga li de ka chenbo sam do da ngone jina no ji jikten de mena ji samchen de ni thwa yo ma ne ten ji kono yo ma ten sa ta nga no ji jikten de do ko ja ko la nga zo da ti khori song ji pe ka chenbo cha do ten sa ta nga zo khori song ji la che tang nga nga zo li tang so nong ngom thamo ge li ji da so so thamo ma be li ji yargin 식 강네 꼬라잡니 소소소 사도 통한 당아지 당당 용대 우리 용고르다 땅 알아서 때라 도파 침보다 초메 초심에 왔지 도피 맞춤 받지 너무 첨부 지용으로서 텔리 천니가니 아니 때라 도점 지용으로서 질지 직전나 도점 지용으로서 아니 배낭 아주 때라 지 로치크 사야 당당 지 요나 몽부조 따따 텔리 페차 가니 살랭기즈나 뜻프게 조용으로서 레비타 티 종아드 트크니 다 칠로 용화도 사인기가 받아 지게 롱서 용화라 소바테리게 자고 친구 용거 또 이사다 직동지나 코로 노동 지지 직든 섬진 내와들라 지지 직등기 섬진 내와들라 노지 직등 코랑 그땅나 차정지 꼬라 잡니 아주 낭지 요래 대전 노바 총총 초시와지 낭바치 성기 주의 시고 꼬르지 때 가봐줘 노바 총총 시와지 아주 배 yar기로 맡아왔다 낭바 성기와 저 yar기로 보면 또 노바 총총 초시와 되게 맞르세 거 또 들으지 말이 노바 총총 초시와 써야 돼 노바 총화되는데 소소 셈나 강 요아디 소소 선바지는 어떤데 야고 스타레 요고를 뜻이니 못하니때 진종진이 셈나가 너무 맞지야들 노바 초시와제 초시와 수요바들 요바들 노바 선바들 초시와 노바 총성제다 소소 강 토바데 소소 바주 지금 토바들라 토바진 딜리 한질 앞에 한 바지니 다 띠지 낭마송 낭만도 때때 고고도 세트디 섬노페 시마제나 아니 노바춘 초시와제 아니 지금 대요나 노바춘 초시와 가서 대요나 고카디나 솔로지니 지 만당 마스라 메니 가디나 센트럴 침보 메니 에 랑진 그 지금 조아치 틈니 소소그 지금 고아 강고아 때 다다다다 접 틈니 델리 한칠라 쇼지 한바치 미는 고고 당니 지 쇼 때지 노당 칠 니가라 노바마 키와 때지 용투고요 대자당 알아서 델리 설 가소에나 다 노바 그 초심에서나 같이 요나라 소소 당고 말다 그는 잠는 그 무용종 알라 토송나 나티다다 노바 심송하다 득송세요 마다다 티한진이다 랑자바데 카르마 니미능도 지금 하기라 요로서 때리바수 지용 거 진짜다 노바 초심에서 아니 노바 총아데 소소 강 요아 강 터바 소소 리당 남수당 지당 라테네 라만노 젤라만노 베 강네 소소랑 강 제터바데 다다다 지고요 델리 한칠리베 찰리가위 노바지네 지베다 미 파쇼부드 젤랑암네 파쇼고 소초발라 소바다 사코 노노치알 소바 덴디기 지 담시와제 뜻 삼아 농음 지금 정화란 농음 지금도 손에 노비 한거 소소 소로요 대자다 대선 노바치선 초시와 세대 대말 적당 자네 고고 말쓰기요 말 고아테 고고요 고아테 소송문이 땅네 차땅다바 이땅 탐바 어때든지 상고래서 어때든지 상아이나 소소 리디와 코리라 만노바 랑키바 젠키바 소소 셈디와 카티나 기오 파파 레가 칸당 그잖아 날라파피고니 제트와 만당 마서라 카티나 데메게 데지 카티는 노바츠니 돈들이죠 어때저때 같이 모레시
All right. So, yes, again, we have these two things in that we know of. One is inhabits our physical environment and inhabitants, beings, sentient beings. So generally, here's the thing. When we look at the physical world out there, and then turn our attention to our very physical body, we think that our physical body is more important than the environment in which we live, right? We sort of less concerned about the well-being of our physical environment than our body. We think our body is precious and has a much greater value than the physical world in which we depend upon or live. And in fact, they are equally important. Or if you think you look down or you sort of ignore, I think that the physical environment in terms of preserving and protecting, nurturing, and it's much less than taking care of your own physical body, which is wrong. Because we know that without our physical body, our physical environment, there's no place and no way we can standing or we can place our very physical existence. Right? Our body will have no place to live. Or the place where we bring our body and try to live, that if the physical environment has been damaging and if it's not it's not in the ideal condition, then your physical it doesn't matter how well you try to protect your physical body and you love or you cherish and you nourish your body, ultimately. In fact, you will not reach your ideal goal. Why? Because the physical environment is absolutely equally as important as your own body. That's fundamentally that's the reality. And to speak of this, we must know that we do need to take care of our body and nourishing and protect it. But this taking care of your body, nourishing and have a love for your body should not be carried out at the expense of the damaging of our very physical environment which we live. Why I say so is because the thing here. So essentially, our physical environment has its own way and to sort of manage it itself. Our experience told us that there's 4 seasons. It just changes, right? It sort of has its own clock. It's going right, and after the so in spring you see it comes to the fall, spring, summer and fall and winter. So the 4 seasons it goes on its own circle without we human beings and the sort of demanding or doing anything. And interesting enough, if you look at this changes of the 4 seasons or the physical environment which you live, it has all kinds of or adequate enough the things, the supplies and materials which can sustain you and can help you to survive. And because the land or the earth or the physical world we live, and it has that ability sort of embedded or and it's common with its own sort of quality and or ability to provide the food that you need, right? And like the materials you need to build up some kind of a facility and or the road or anything that's kind of access to somewhere else. And so the environment just have that thing given to us. And so we are basically being provided. We are basically being given to the things we needed, right? And because the environment it just have that those naturally and come with it or embedded in such a way, made it in such a way. The problem here is the problem, right? And our understanding, because we have failed to understand the limitations of the physical environment, right? And I failed to understand that this beautiful sort of coming alone qualities of nature. And for instance, like through the year, if you properly managing, properly working, and according to change of the seasons, and you will have sufficient food and supplies and for your very basic needs, right? And you can enjoy and what do you need, which is perfectly manageable and achievable. The serious problem is because we don't understand the
It's 11
limitations of
o'clock.
our physical environment, and we also do not know the relationship between us and our physical environment, the importance of the relationship between us and our physical environment. And then so we go with our desire, right? And so we try to get the things from this physical environment, the more than it can give in within that 4 circles of the year, right? Because we are so we go with our attachment and desire, then we attempt to get more from the land, the environment to give within that 1 year. Suppose that if the first is that when within that year, whatever you can have it, is get that year, right? That you can have it, and then move on and wisely and wisely going on, and then you can get what you wanted. You can get what you needed, and also you can taking care and of the earth and or the environment which you live without abuse it, without damage it. And we are not thinking that way. And we thought that we wanted the land or the environment and doing the things limitlessly, give us the things limitlessly without any conditions. So we superimpose our desire, our wanting, and our greedy onto the environment, and then destroy the changes of the season or the natural order of the environment. And because of that, then since the course of this the natural order been destroyed or forcefully because of our desire, our attachment, and our greedy, and being interrupted and forced to change. So therefore, over the year, throughout the year, we will experience the like hurricanes, earthquake, and flood, and even the tornadoes and all kinds of fires and all kinds of natural disaster. That's because we try to get the things more than that the planet Earth or the planet this very planet can offer to us. Okay, give to us. Right. So at this point, and then we needed to again go back to reflect upon one of the very critical Buddhist the teaching, that is the generally called be content with the less. Be content with the little, with the less. So it's been called Do Chun Choshi. So or in other words, live with a small and the sense of needs, or a reasonable sense of needs. And the Choshi probably can be translated as to understand the limits of the wanting. To know the limits of the needs, and have a reasonable desire. That's the very, very important. It's simple enough, but it's a very important teaching. This teaching of having a reasonable desire and to know the limitations of wanting is and sometimes can be sometimes gets criticism from other non-Buddhist personals, and they criticize Buddhist this very teaching of Buddhism. They said, "What are you talking about? And we are so backwards, and we are fell behind." And so we are having this and that trouble because of this kind of teaching, who promotes that you have the little attachment and knowing the contentment. So, but if you look at this teaching, very teaching, and put it into a broad context, then and that those criticism actually is wrong. Why? Because as we talked about it before, we do need to get what we need, but definitely we cannot sort of spoil or let our attachment and so doing all kind of crazy thing, and in other words, not let ourselves be indulgent, right? And have some kind of the taking all kinds of action without consider the consequences, and then we try to get to what we want, right? And then without again, this without a sense of there's a limitation and from physical world, and so this yes, if you bring into the broader context, then you see this teaching is really working, because this way, you get to what you want as a being, for your surviving and for your basic needs is being covered, and at the same time you can take care of the planet Earth or your physical environment in which you live, and so yes, so this is a very critical teaching, and at the same time also we needed to know that when we say that with a reasonable desire. Meaning that when you try to get the things, and what you really, and whether this is necessary, right, or not, and so you only do the things with a rational and mind, and based upon the real needs and the meanings of the values of that very desire to get something, right? So that is the meaning of with a small attachment, or with a reasonable and a small desire and a reasonable desire. And then the knowing contentment is that you have it, right? You worked and you got what you wanted, and then just appreciate it, just rejoice, just feel content. Oh, I have it, it's great, it's wonderful. And not then say, I have this, but what if I have more, right? Or what if I have much more than, you didn't think about it, like something like that. With the sense, driven by there's a mistaken sense of eternity, something is perpetuate, and it's like kind of for unreasonably forever. So with that sense of, that sense of wanting, then of course, you will never be able to stop from pursuing and more and more. And you completely forgot that you are not really, you try to get it, and it's more than enough. You are like a forever, and to secure is in a sort of a long and the coming up future needs. That's what the abusive, you become abusive, and not only to the environment itself, you probably you wanted to get that, right? And wanting more, you could hurt others, right? And you could, in order to get that, even you could have lost your life. You could have committed a crime, right, and end up with terrible actions. So you see our current situation. Sometimes I wonder that we are really doing something, and perhaps it's very damaging if we are not very careful. Because out of for some people, and they're not content here, and they forgot to managing carefully, nourishing, protecting our planet Earth. And in order to get what they want, they're even thinking that maybe other planets, and Mars or Jupiter, even they think that one day they can go to the sun, right, and to get something from the sun, and to fulfill their desire. So this action, if not carefully managed, could bring a tremendous disaster. And so while you were doing this, again, you could hurt others, you could destroy others' life. So the point I'm making is, yes, we do need to take care of our life, and we need to do something beneficial and meaningful. But at the same time, we must know the relationship between us and our physical environment, and then and carefully and manage it. So if you carefully manage it, what happened is that you don't have to physically working way too hard, right? And make yourself so tired, right? And experience lots of fatigue. You don't have to experience that fatigue, unnecessary fatigue. And secondly, and mentally also, you will not feel very stressful. Always feel the lack of or incomplete or not have enough. You don't have that. In fact, you will physically you feel very relaxed, and mentally you feel very happy, and at the same time, and you also can and you will not create any troubles to the others, and as well as to your physical environment. So your life will be basically, will be very enjoyable.
Oh, yeah, I need to order it.
So I just say this much, and do you have any questions for today's my comments?
Mấy quả. Đó mới nói đông sực. Sai gì nó sực gì.
If you have no questions, and then I have a story for you all.
Thế cái dopat trong 초심해야 되기 그런 게. 이제 당신나 때 sai 보기 존중 동을 보고 접당 안에 지 차네 고 나치 지 담보요 자치 보기 존중라 동셔도 된데 동몽 보시고 존중은 아주 동년이 된다 라는 띠가나 체장의 쇼자디요 말도 동년이 되니 동도 정말 치 어떤데 지금 동인자 때라더니 미성마 셈 보기 존중 셈나 방식 방법을 거든 자다 동때 가르쳐주나 야 노구 성기도 그렇고 노구 성기 띠가나 아니 카당 용의 카능아 녹았던 소나 니마 샤카다가 같이네 소나 녹았던 코바는 세라 그래서 셀레기로스 셀들네 아니 코 니마 샤라던 냠들 또 냠데 카 바점로 그래서 이제다 미지 아니 다미 세람바지 코 송니 니마 지가 데스니 데리시다 도 성기디 카당도 카능아 발록았던 셀 도도 지라 그래서 그렇고 내 소들인다 코페 가네오 다페 요종스타 데스 세라 소들 그 도바친지니 베 로스 송니 코 롱쇼지 펜스 소바 종 다 니와 데 하고니 코 양질 데 송니 구이데네 니마 샤카 로승기 카당도 디 카나로 지라네 디 도바 로마스네 양질 셀 도도 동네데 니마 샤당네 카 성기 카점네 니 락바트 디 카나 쇼송네 락바트 마샤 서스 코 다디 도도 가르쳐 버지나 도바춘 초시와진 도바 참바이나 소소라 펜수 속비고니 롱초지 요하다 아니 지 대정니 네트브레스 노바 마츠바이나 아니 소소 쩨던데 데킨도비 코테 무트 태와랑나 데키 롱초기 섬버다 따티 마종아 티 소소락바데 차송데 텐데 능리용화르스 쩨던다 롱르데 롱이나 테 고지 텐디시고르스 테 쩨당 아랑도 쩨당 도바촌 초시와데 뜻백까지 모르 쩨당 아주 직든디강나 사치 메롱 코로도 소만 직든데 나라도 잠랑도 나라도 리낭지 코랑 땅나 코랑 스피 니와지고 치낭라 나라도 미기 쪽바 조당이나 코르비 지거지 다베 중코다 때데 멍보고 나진 담나 용용으로 손나다 준비 뛰는 코 치디는 거 셀와가 니와티 난거 만당나다 치도 쪽바 쳤네 되는 요를 거 사이나 사고에 나라도 미고야 잠그 코르비르비 고주도 영야 세니 냠로 다 중코도 때디 치보고 용을 쏘더니 art maternity 사케 도 니게 용거 되는 아주 리라이나 마 총총도나 코랑 땅 니와세야 니와지고 데조 마터 치리치리 땅나 때니 나자니 베타 폼보 톨라도 그거 어때든 식 바리 데 자당 아주 적당 안에 직든 디가 나가서 적당 잠롱데 같이 모레 자당 아주 니가 틀들랑 아주 조자소 지치 셈진다 노지 직든 시작이었다 노지 직든 같이 보임 받다 디코르등 아주 되는 데르지 시이지 야
Well, my story is basically prepared for little kids, for the children. But anyway, I'm going to share it with you. And in Tibetan culture, and this is basically a very interesting phenomena. The thing is that even in a very remote sort of the areas and back to Tibet, and the people may not have any access to the formal and literature learning and opportunities to study the Buddhist literature or receive the formal trainings. But because of the culture and in general is built up some kind of environment, and through the narratives, the stories, legends, and all kinds of folk, the folk and the laws, and people are being informed, especially when you are little, as a kid, you've been taught some important lessons of the Buddhism. This a little story about for the children is about how you should have a reasonable desire and knowing the limitations of your needs or your wants. The story is back and it's like this. There was in the village and has the two kids and who are in the sort of like a herd boy. Well, back then probably it's like some kind of who taking care of the animal, and then there's up on the village there's a mountain, and in the mountain there's a snow line, a lion. I'm sorry, snow line that's curved and out of a stone. In other words, a stone line on the mountain. And one of the boy and who went while he was herding the animals, and who accidentally went to that stone line, and then because he's gentle and a good boy, then the also poor and the snow line and spoke out and talked to him and say, if you put your hands in my mouth and before the sunrise, right? Before the sunrise, and then you can get a piece of gold from me. So that humble and nice boy and a young boy or the herdman, and who did it, and then who got the gold. But then he told that the other boy or other herdman about the same story, and also emphasized, and you must respect what the stone line told me, that you have to stop it and before the sunrise. Right? So don't forget, and you must get there and stop doing that. Pull out your hands from the snow as lines before the sunrise. So then, second boy who went and who got one piece, then he became greedy. Said, why not? I can get a second one. So then he put back his hands into the mouth of the snow line, and then the stone, and then at that moment the sunrise. So then the lion who closed his mouth, and he cut off his hands. So the stories like this and small stories like that we've been told, and back to the village level and nomadic area when we were little. The lessons of the story is quite as simple. It's basically saying, fortune is there, right? And but you cannot be greedy. If you're greedy, and then you will be in trouble. So yes, from this story, you can tell that the sunrise is a limitation, right? You essentially have that snow line, not snow line, the stone line who can offer you the thing you wanted, free you from the poverty or the lack of the resources and then to survive or to that you needed. And but the limitation is that it has to be stopped at the time of the moment of the sunrise. In our life, we also needed to know that so what do we need and what do we want? Right? If we forgot our needs then we could get to the point with a bigger trouble, such like the boy who forgot the advice and then put it back his hands in the mouth of the lion at the moment of the sunrise and cut off his hands. So that's the price and the boy paid. So bring this story to our reality. Our earth is essentially just like our body, is a constitute of the earth, water, fire, wind, right, and those natural elements. Right? Same natural elements is also as created our very planet Earth, and so essentially our body can. Our body has its own, it produces all kinds of things, and including the feces, right? And feces are bodily waste, and we produce it, and then in the water, we only can produce a certain amount, right? And then water can carry it away and can purify it, and then everything is a circle, and then back to normal. So that's how we're doing, and without really damaging it. But if we, that's our body can do. Our four elements of body, and if we responded to the four elements of our external body or the physical world, and respectively, and with respect, then and our planet Earth can take it. I can consume it or can digest it. But out of greedy, if we produce huge, giant, or they put up the factories and with damaging the chemicals and or the things that contain very strong and powerful and contaminated, polluted and elements, then from that factory or the manufacturer or the machine, right? If we take it and to the planet Earth, right, then that could destroy the natural order of the physical, the order of the water, earth, the fire, and the wind, and then consequently, right, and water is polluted, and the land has been severely damaging, and then the weather and the nature or the causes of the nature, everything is changing and turned into the way against our very existence or our survival. So it's just like our body, and if we get a little cut in our hands or somewhere in our body, and if it's very little, then somehow our body just have the ability to heal itself, right? It easily get healed. And but if you make a huge, very big wound, right? The big cuts in our body are very difficult to heal. So same logic, and if we know that the relationship between us and our environment, and then try not to make a huge cuts in our environment, then will be easy, will be created, or even nature itself has that power to self-correcting. So anyway, and this is the in context what I have said before is in the context of our today's topic, and then so how to make offering to the giving the possessions. So how to use our environment and take it as an object of offering, and by through the process of meditation on the pure appearance. And but we can not only take it, this lesson for our spiritual practice such as meditation of a pure appearance. We also need to turn our attention or use this teaching and carefully and apply to our physical and behavior, our behaviors in terms of how we deal with our physical world.
Yeah.
Okay, now we will say closing prayer on page number 80.
Lo me ma re ge don do nam de ya ve om bon don je ma zon be te ro gan de Jang de yang ji te ve ji zong de dang de ba gen zang lang ye ne de be yan nam ye shi Rang ye zhe zhen do be lang ye xue zhao zi li zhang wei tang gui zhou wei ye ji men ba sa xi Yahweh Dang Ba Ye Rang Zhen Jer Ji Ba Ren Shen Shou Ge Ma Qiu Cha Jiang Nyang Ber Jer Wei Shou De Yang Jie Shen Bo Ya Re Jiu Pan De De Sa Wer She Ber Se Jie Ya Wei Ma Shong Chen De La zhe shang zhe lang ji re li jiang tan du nan ji ye lo he de xiang ya wen zhe ba ran de zhong jie Zong zhe bei te jian zhe xi ga jian se xie me dong me me ce re gan de yao wei ngao ba yi nam da la da zhe ma ji gang zi ta ba chou la ji zhou ji ci zhen zhe la zuo ba de yi ji te de nan ji da de zhou xi zha xi yang zu shou gong qiang jie ji za wei la ma ren bo xi da su nian ge ban mi dang xiu ge zhen qian bo gong ne ji song de ge song de jie mu zhe sa de su shang zhe sen zhuo ren bo er jie ba ne ji jie xi jie wa nian ba mi yang gong li gong de bei er shou gang re re wei gu wei shang gan zhe ben dang de wa ma li zhong dan zhen yang zuo yi she bei sen de war de dan ji re ji jia ba ba wo zhe de ren qian ba dang gen de zang bo de yang de zhe de da gen ji ji se da lo jiang ge wa de da tam ji ran de ngo de se ma sha bei ya wa tam ji ji wa gang lan zhou de ngo a zhen ge wei sa wa de gen yong zong wo zhu shi ra de ngo er ji pan de zhong de dan ba de shang a zhen ji wo tam ji gen gen zong de zhen gen la de jian zhong wei ni san ji dan ba da de ji 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 ce re gen de ya wa zong ka wei dan zhu shi bei de jia wei nga bei lang zong de ye li ge ji zan yang do er ma ji ji哦呀，老说怎么这是的嘞呀？
Right. Goodbye.